Hey, what does literature mean to you? And I don't mean that as some boring notebook. I mean like literature. The kind of literature that was kept from us as kids. Since I can remember, the definition of literature was a boring old dictionary and a short story with questions. However, literature means so much more. There are millions of works of literature all around the world left to interpret as your own. Literature is beautiful because it can induce mortality upon any individual who tries to interpret a given work. Many people truly don't understand the magnitude of their lives. They live in a lie, such as Emily from the story A Rose from Emily by William Faulkner. Emily is a woman who is willing to die rather than change her perspective on life. She ignores everything around her and rots in a disintegrating house so others could, quote, at last pity Miss Emily. The scholar Sky Hans explains it in the best lens of New Historicism, saying that, quote, Rose for Emily is a Gothic tale in the sense that it creates a doom-laden atmosphere in which an old spinster is totally shut off from the teeming outside world and lives in a decaying mansion with one floor closed. This explains how even though Emily is an overexaggeration of a given aspect on a given person, it shows the underlying mentality they may hold. They would rather sit in their sadness and sorrows than change the parts of their lives which makes them miserable. This sad reality is caused by a lack of realization or maybe even an ignorance of the fact they are losing their lives slowly, sitting around like, quote, a red wheel barrow glazed with rain water, as in the object of no one's affection from the red wheelbarrow by William Carlos. This wheelbarrow has so much left to use in it, yet it is left to be rained on because others won't use it or help it out of the rain. They would rather be like, quote, the invisible worm that flies in the night in the howling storm, who in the poem The Sick Rose by William Blakes takes others for granted and makes them miserable for their own benefit. Corpse Bride, however, differs from this light. It shows how people should act, that being with empathy and care, as in Emily, who was literally killed by her previous lover and got married while in the grave, then had to let this newly found lover go because her empathetic mortality showed her the truth that, quote, my dreams were taken from me, but now I've stolen them from someone else, giving what belonged to her and what made her so happy go, in the light of Victoria, another human who hadn't had their story yet. Each of these pieces of literature account for so much of what life really means. It truly holds so much information. They could take simple words, themes, plot, and literary elements and make a story. Literature can teach anyone the truth of mortality if they are willing to interpret and learn from these works. My personal short reflection. I arrived at the thesis presented by interpreting many works of literature throughout the semester. Then I determined what they mean about life to me. This presentation style is something that I have done before for another class, and it seemed like a great way to get my point across in an inexpensive and efficient manner. The literary lens I chose was picked partially due to the fact that my theme goes well with this lens. I chose this theme because I believe I'm a more philosophical and psychological person, and this theme resonated with me very well this whole semester. The citations as well as the script for the video is in the description down below. Hope this presentation helped teach about what literature can teach to you about life.